Hello fellow raiders and divers, this is Oddnoman speaking. Today we're going to be talking about the new update in the new map and the possible dark future for Arcraiders. This new update, to be honest, I was expecting a little more. I got a list here of things I find wrong with the current state of the game, as well as the new update specifically. I may get a little heated covering these topics, but it's because I really wanted to believe in this game. I've been playing it non-stop since around the time Stella came out, and as the numbers dwindling, all my friends begin to leave the game one by one, I've still been here enjoying everything they add and dealing with the bad that has come along the way. First we're going to cover the elephant in the room, the brand new map Riven Tides. So to start, the map is a 5 difficulty map, meaning more arc, and normally that would mean more valuable loot. But that just simply isn't the case here. There are only 4 named locations total. Port Authority has the most average loot. Hotel has barely any searchables besides the keep rooms, which I can't seem to find any even though they're only a gray rarity. The stacking area has terrible loot. There is only one small room you get to loot, the other requires a key and the other requires 4 buttons scattered around the area, which isn't too big of a deal, but it is when you have packs of 5 arc rolling around instead of 2. Vaporizers everywhere and on every map in every condition. It's just pretty gay. The loot is so spread out as well. To rotate from named location to named location takes 3 to 5 minutes, which may not sound bad, but that's after the first location you've hit, and you've already wasted a third of the raid just running around looking for stuff, draining your heals and materials, burning ammo trying to protect yourself from all the arc, not to mention the close-ass spawns. You're almost guaranteed to have a team on top of you in minutes after you spawn in, and that's pretty normal like the buried spawns, but the issue is that you have too much fucking arc to deal with on top of that. Besides the teams you tend to run into immediately, especially on duo since there are more teams spread around, then you have the games where you can't find anyone because everyone is literally doing the same thing, trying to find each other in this big ass empty map. Speaking of, why is it so empty? Why is there so much empty space? They could have just thrown a couple buildings and towers around, anything at all. But most of the map is just flat ground. Flat ground, no cover, with arc all over you. That leads to people just holding down a certain area and sitting there for the whole game, or just running around aimlessly until you find something or someone. I know it sounds like I'm describing the game itself, but I swear the experience on this map, in contrast to the others, is just so much more devoid of anything, really. Another thing I despise about this map is the hatches and elevators placements. You gave us all this empty space just to put 2 elevators on the map? Look at Dam, Spaceport, and hell, even Bluegate. Each map has spread out elevators, generally covering each side of the map, with hatches in between or off on the far edges of the map. But this map, for some reason, has all the escapes generally around the same area. There is one spot you could rat with an osprey and have vision on all escape routes, so now they're warranting extract ratters, which makes it very encouraging not to play the new map at all. All this new content just for most of us to go back to the maps we normally play in a couple days is actually crazy. Next we're going to talk about Arc Turbines, the newest addition to the Arc family. So the promotional material as well as the roadmap dubbed to be the new large Arc enemy, which is true, but I feel as though most of us were expecting a matriarch or queen-like enemy. It's fine that it isn't, and this new enemy has some cool quirks to it, but it has a couple problems as well. So imagine this, right? You load into a new map, maybe with some heavy arc equipment like the Whole Cracker, maybe Bettina, and you're looking around for 15 whole minutes just to finally see only one load in. I mean, what is that? What is the purpose of that? Why aren't they put in a special condition or something like that, especially considering they kind of just sit there and float around unless chose to bother them? So it lands on the ground, places a minefield where it decides to. Once I had it on space travel on buried, and you place mines all around the parking garage area. It changes the dynamic of the map, and that part is enjoyable, and I think trying to fight it while it's grounded would be enjoyable, but why does it just fly away? It literally just floats around the map hitting whoever it can after you damage it, as if it's entering some kind of attack mode. So great, now I can't get close to it because he'll just snipe me down with his Wrath of God. It's not like I could get close to it before, because like I said, minefield, I don't know, this thing just doesn't seem that enjoyable to have around. You'd either have to dive in head first and kill it quick with friends, or you have to snipe it from afar to the point where it's not even really a threat to you anymore. I think the enemy itself is fine, but I wanted more. I personally don't like how it's designed, but it doesn't even matter because most of us won't even see one to begin with, considering how low their spawn rates are, and considering they don't load until half the raid is over or 10 minutes is left. So for some reason, they decided to put Vaporizers on every map. The idea is sound. Add the most recent arc to the other maps to give it more of a place in the Arc family, but why Stella loading bay? That's actually insane. On the other maps, they aren't such a pain, but the new map specifically where it's never just a vaporizer, yeah, I'm good, man. You should have kept that on close scrutiny. It may be a skill issue, but this isn't something I desire to improve upon. And I know I'm not the only one person who just doesn't care to fight Arc unless he has to or is forced to. Now let's take a look at the new items added into the new season. The Power Descender and the new Crash Mat are the new quick use utility items added to the game for more movement options and abilities. The Descender essentially is a Fortnite glider, allowing you to slowly descend from high places slowly to avoid fall damage, or it can be used to skip across small gaps as it gives you a small boost forward before it drags you down to the ground. The Crash Mat, however, to me isn't as exciting. The idea is though, it's like a placeable mattress that you can throw into the ground to avoid fall damage by landing on it. The problem is it's so small, the radius to land on it has to be off, because I swear every time I try to land on it, I just take damage anyway. I was doing it from the top of the custom houses, and there was quite literally no reason to use this thing if I can't negate fall damage from that height. Anything shorter from that distance would be just about enough distance required to get the roll, the combat roll. This is in my experience, but I've yet to see a clip of someone using it quote-unquote properly. So let me know in the comments if I am missing something with the Crash Mat. The white flag is cool, not much to say about it, though I wish you could wave it whilst down to maybe get a chance at a defib. It would also make for some great laughs.
The new augment is fine. I feel as though they could be more creative with the ideas, though. Revival was decent, a free recharge defib was cool. Safekeeper was a great idea, but everything else we've gotten since then has been kinda shit, or very samey. And I wish they could just create more actual reliable augments. Give me a reason to stop using the survivors, because to me, there really isn't a reason to not have it on, besides when you want to run purple shields like Combat 3, Tactical Defensive, or Safekeeper are pretty good options. But I feel like they're lacking in quick use space or lacking in inventory space or carry weight. If you're like me and generally run $100,000 kits every game, then you know these backpacks aren't really an option for you if you want to actually pick anything up and not get over encumbered. Now let's talk about the widely hated Photoelectric Cloak nerf. They increased the weight by 3, which is fine and fair, but they also increased the power use rate from 2.5 a second to 10 a second. So before, when you used it, you were only protected as you used it, which is still the case. But the arc still senses you. They still stay where you are generally, unless you move away from their location whilst cloaked. But you really could only get so far considering how slow you are with the cloak. But the amount of energy it had was its only saving grace, and it gave you time to find cover, or at the very least, look for it so you can run for it when your cloak is out of battery. Or simply use it when you're about to get hit by a rocketeer or something. But now, none of that is nearly possible anymore. It's not even like it was abusable. You were a sitting duck. As soon as you let off the cloak, the drones are going to start swarming you again, so why would they give you such a short window to save yourself when it's literally all the item is good for? You can easily get killed by a player whilst using it, so I just don't understand why it was nerfed so goddamn hard. This is literally a PvE item, and now they're nerfing PvE players, which is where their hardcore fanbase generally lies. Remember, you get called a rat just for killing people, and those same people who do that are the ones getting nerfed now, as if they didn't have it hard enough dealing with us PvP players. This also drains the durability faster because you'll be using it more often for less time. The patch note states it was to give the uses more intentionality, which generally, if you just pull it out after being seen by a bunch of arc, the arc is still going to shoot at you, either before you cloak up fast enough, after your cloak dies and runs out of battery. So to me, this is another bad change. How many people do you know even use these things on the regular? This is so pointless, really. But it's not as bad as the last thing we're about to get into. The weapon drop and durability changes. They reduced weapon spawns quote-unquote around the outskirts of the map to increase value and tension of high-value loot areas, which decreases the amount of guns you find in matches in general, which is just silly. I really didn't find that many weapons to begin with in a raid unless I were to know the weapon spawns of the weapon crates. You can now find near broken weapons from 15 durability to 60, which is just insane. I'm also finding gray weapons in weapon crates now, like a fucking hairpin 2. Like, are we serious? A nearly broken hairpin 2 at that. That'll break in 10 shots anyway, because they also increase durability lost on shot. Common weapons burn 75% faster. Green burn 50 and blue now burn 35% faster, which is insane because that doesn't even include the blue barrels like the muzzle brake or the compensator. The only upsides here are that when you upgrade a weapon, it fixes it, which in theory is good, but with the durability changes, you're still wasting more and more materials, and I think it's definitely more than before. I don't know the math on this, but there's definitely no way that they did the math, because this is clearly so much worse than before, and is completely the opposite of what claimed to be what they wanted to fix, being frustration maintaining high-tier weapons being so expensive compared to lower. That doesn't mean make everything else harder to maintain. Just keep the purples and legendaries from breaking as fast, and add the upgrade fixing weapon system that kind of negates finding broken weapons. I ran an Anvil 4 with a blue suppressor with only 60 bullets with the new 60 stack instead of 40, with around 50 to 60 durability, and he was around 10% when the raid was over. Mind you, I didn't find any more ammo to use. That was all I used, and that is utterly ridiculous because they indirectly nerfed all the non-purple weapons because now some people aren't even going to want to use the blue barrels, which helps with recoil control and bloom. Bloom in a third-person shooter, like, yeah. You'll win the fight and find half-broken weapons off them that you'll have to fix, but now you'll nearly have to guarantee that your weapon's going to break as well. I don't know, guys, I hate this, and based on everything else we've gone up to this point, I'm not so sure how much longer this game honestly has. So many people are frustrated, and I know I personally was just expecting more with this update. That's everything I wanted to cover in the update. I could cover more issues I have with the game in general, but I do plan on going over everything wrong with Arcraiders. But for now, that's all the time I got for today. Thank you for watching this video. Let me know in the comments how you're feeling with Arcraiders right now. Is all this stuff I'm complaining about a skill issue? Do you agree or disagree with any of the points I made? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Deuces.